Scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, back with another page in my California Love album. Finally getting on the plane here and scrapbooking a story about. So we went to California as a surprise for my sister's 45th birthday. And unfortunately, the surprise was spoiled that my mom was coming, but my sister still didn't know that I was coming. So I kind of played it up and we made a big deal about me being jealous that my mom was going. So that is sort of the impetus for the story of this spread specifically. I'm using the Coco Daisy My Adventure or My Escape collection for this whole album basically. So I have this Travelogue traveler's notebook size page that I'm incorporating into a 6x8 album. You can see on this Travelogue page, I have already filled in sort of our itinerary for the day, and so I'm sort of working around it. And I have this text message thread that I have printed. Basically, it's not quite 6 inches long, but it's printed as a long and skinny thread. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pocket for this text message to sort of go behind the Travelogue. I've already put the Travelogue card down on the paper, so I'm going to have to do it on the back of the page instead of underneath the actual Travelogue card, but that's okay. So I'm layering this cute rainbow paper. I love this. Is probably my favorite paper in the whole collection. I actually had to be careful not to overuse it. But I'm layering that snippet that I had underneath there so that I can sort of decorate a little bit better. I'm having a brain fart right here and trying to figure out how I'm going to incorporate that text message. So I'm going to take my red line tape and I'm going to create a pocket behind there. But I can't decide what I want to do, so you can see my frustration a little bit. So what I'm going to do first is take these chipboard pieces and sort of create some chipboard embellishment. And I really did struggle with the left-hand side of this spread and making this giant card work. So obviously it's like a big wall of text, and I really wanted it to not be a big wall of text. Like I really wanted to embellish it a little bit more interestingly. And so I struggled a little bit with this spread, making it look interesting. Of course, you have the pocket that's going to have the cute text message that you pull out. But as far as like first glance, I'm trying to make things look a little bit more interesting than they actually are. So I'm going to put in some rub-ons. There's lots of adorable rub-ons. That's where almost all the icons are in this collection, are on the rub-on sheet. So I'm adding in some icons to make this a little bit more interesting down here in the corner. I did really struggle though with the left-hand side of this, like this specific left-hand side page up there in that top corner. I really wanted that rise and shine up there, but man, there was just like no way to make it look like it wasn't just floating in space. So I'm going to take this off because I always pull things up once I've got them down, and I decided I needed there to be some layering over there. So I'm going to take this little ticket and just put it right back down over the the remnants of the chipboard. Not a big deal because I'm going to put it right back where it was. I need to learn to think ahead, but after this long and at this point I doubt I ever will. Oh well, that's just how I scrapbook. Where am I going to put this one? Making little clusters on these photos. So what I like to do when I'm making albums, and why it gets to be a little bit harder to embellish on like a page by page basis, is I like to print most of my photos at once and basically pre-decide what's going where and what photos are going to be large, which are going to be 4x6s, which are going to be 3x4s, and which are going to be full pages. And so in order to make that easier for me, I print all of my photos basically the same sizes. So on the 3x4s, they're 2.5 inches wide, and on my 4x6s, they're 5 inches wide, and that just makes it easy for me to batch process my photos. But because they basically take up the whole card, but they don't quite take up the whole card, it's a style that I really like, where everything is sort of backed in color and in patterned papers, but it can get a little bit awkward making sure everything feels balanced. But it is the way that I like to scrapbook mini albums, because basically it's the only way that I get it done is if I batch process and prepare everything in advance. So it's just kind of the way it goes. I decided to stamp a big title here with the letter stamps that came with the Traveler's Notebook collection. It says LOL forever, because this cracked me up. There's a text exchange, my sister to my mom in our group chat that I asked my mom to start, telling my sister that she had landed and was on the ground and getting a rental car. Meanwhile, it's in the group chat that all three of us are in, and so my sister's like, yay, I'm excited, and I sent that Leslie Nope gif and told them that the whole conversation was rude, but really I was standing there, right there with my mom, actually doing the rental car process. So it was very amusing and very fun way to deceive someone, I suppose. And so that had to be documented, even though it's an ugly text. So that's why it's going in a pocket behind everything else. So I am going to use my red line tape, and I'm going to create basically rails for this card to tuck behind the layout. And you can see that I have the little pull tab at the top that makes it easier to pull out and lets you know that there is something to pull out. So I want my red line tape to go pretty snugly around the edges of my card, but not so snugly that it's hard to get in and out. So it's a little bit loose, but not too loose. And then what this is going to do is it's going to adhere to the layout that is in the album behind it, and it's going to create a little pocket. All right, so now just put this right in here. There we go. So now you can pull it in and out easily, and it's not a big deal. I'm going to add in a few more things here. Just some embellishment to make it all a little bit more interesting. Added some wood veneer. Still not loving that rise and shine up in the corner, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta let things go. Then I realized that the configuration of the 6x8 pocket protectors were actually upside down, or the way that I had them was upside down, so that 4x6 actually goes on the bottom. Have some enamel dots that I've put on here as well. Now I'm just going to add in a few little bits and pieces to fill in some of the space that is sort of empty from the writing and all of the letter stickers and stuff. Decided to add in 2 geotags. I'm actually going to turn them and make them more like arrows here in a second, but those were the 2 places that we landed. We left Atlanta, landed in Denver, and then landed in Sacramento. And it's funny that how the timing works out on this Travelogue specifically, because we're actually going backwards in time, right? So we're gaining hours as we go across the country. So it looks like our flights are a lot shorter than they are. Start here, rise and shine. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do it, y'all. Put that right back where it was. I just can't add anything to that rise and shine that makes it look good. Oh well. Alright, here's the last of the embellishing. I'm going to add in these arrows somewhere. Maybe? But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed, and there's a link to Coco Daisy in the description box if you are interested in subscribing. All right, thank you.